What's that noise?
Tell us about this vegan cruise.
Yeah, so a friend of ours uh, told us about, I don't know, it was almost a year and a half ago, he told us about this amazing vegan cruise. He had a tenant that was renting space in his
Warehouse.
warehouse, and he was renting space for a vegan cruise. And we decided to all, you know, go and discover what it was all about. And so the first cruise we did was in the Caribbean, but the second cruise, which was even better, was in Alaska. Well, obviously Alaska was amazing. I don't, nothing new there. It was amazing, but the cruise was also really amazing. Because I think part of the journey of becoming healthier in general, and I do say healthier because becoming healthier does not necessarily mean that you become vegetarian or vegan overnight. It means that you consciously choose the food you eat, and maybe you used to eat animal proteins every day, and maybe you decide to eat animal proteins every other day, or instead of taking animal protein and any animal protein, you actually search for animal protein that is healthy, because there are a lot of healthier farms out there that don't use antibiotics and unhealthy ingredients in your meat. I mean, I still have the passion of animals, so that's really the main reason I became vegan in the beginning. But yeah, so we went on this cruise, and I mean, Chris, wasn't it incredible? All these speakers and everything that we discovered. I mean, we're still learning, right? And you've been
It's
40 years into this. I've been 15 years into this, and we're still learning, and it's amazing.
Yeah, the two things were not only with the speaker, so it's a format where you're at sea and there's people giving multiple talks on various subjects, and these are world-renowned speakers and great information, all levels from beginner to, like I said, we've been doing this for a long time and know a lot, but we still found it was a great resource. But also the people there and the stories they have and their journey and how they restored their health
That was
in a
amazing.
holistic, natural way. It's inspiring because when you decide to eat better, unfortunately, the restaurants, the community, the way that we live, it doesn't really promote that or force that. So having a reason and having inspiration, having information, makes that journey a lot more rewarding, and it makes it sustainable until you can get to a different level where you start feeling better. And what's interesting is I look back on, it's been over 50 years since I've been doing this. I grew up in tech. People say, oh, it's so hard. I said, when I started in Texas, we had meat 3 times a meal. The only salad we had was chicken salad. I mean, it was very different, and I love that, and I craved it. But over time, your taste changed. I use the example. We have kids. We all have kids, and when you have kids, Halloween they want to eat candy. As an adult, you're like, oh, it's gross. I couldn't eat all that candy. And as you get older, your tastes change. Same thing happens when you eat better. When you exercise, if you get used to, in a fitness program, you're used to exercising. If you don't do it, you don't feel as good. You want to get back into the swing of things. So,
Remember that lady that talked to us? She had multiple sclerosis, wasn't it? Yeah, that was amazing.
yeah,
That
and
was
cancer and
these.
infectious diseases that they tried everything. And obviously, you want to seek medical attention and do the responsible thing. But the better you take care of yourself and the more that you put in, the better you're going to feel.
We particularly met this one person who actually became a doctor in the field, but and that's what's so amazing about this cruise is that they have doctors that have studied at Harvard, and it's not just a homeopath, which is completely valid, but it's really people that have done research on the subject of plant-based eating. And this one doctor, he became plant-based eater because he was 16 years old. He was about, I think he was becoming a football star, right, in his local
Right.
university. And he started feeling really bad and went to the doctor and was basically told that he had an autoimmune disease, which is more and more common in the world we live in, autoimmune, because a lot of it is environment based, um, and was really told that he probably was going to die within the next couple of years, and he was 16 years old, and he didn't want to die. Um, so he started studying it at the age of 16, which is a little bit the same story as my husband, because he started when he was 17, and decided to change his diet completely, become completely plant-based. Well, now he's, I think, what was he, 47 years old, 2 children. He's now a doctor in autoimmune disease and helps people recover. And, I'm not saying that conventional medicine doesn't have its place. It does, right? Let's be clear. But I think that it's always certainly really interesting to supplement and to help yourself in different ways. And, my mother had cancer for 10 years, and I did that for her. And I think that it helped her. It made her live longer, and made it easier for her to handle chemotherapy and the other medicines that she had to take. But we had doctors on that cruise that were talking that had cancer and who decided not to go on chemotherapy at all. And I'm not advocating for that. Let's be very clear. That was a choice he made, and he cured himself. And he's now, I think, 55 years old. And there are tons of stories like that. So it's super inspiring. One thing is for sure, whatever you decide to do, to eat with better ingredients, have a better diet,
More action.
more activity, exercise, lots of love in your life, purpose, and wonderful projects is a wonderful way of keeping healthy and dying healthy.
They say that eating healthy may not make you live longer, it just seems longer. But if you cook like Vanessa does, then obviously that will change that parameter. I just want to mention one other thing is that the medical doctors there, it was interesting, they said that 80% of our health conditions are either caused or made worse by our lifestyle and the food choices we make. And over 80% of the medical schools in the United States have no courses in nutrition. So if you think you're going to go to your doctor and get that information, probably not going to happen. So you really have to be a self-starter. You have to be able to make that initiative on yourself, go online, whatever resource you can, and learn about that, because the choices you make are going to make a big difference between if you're going to be in the hospital for a longer time or a shorter time, or maybe not go to the hospital at all. And as we saw with my mother-in-law, her mom, is that when someone gets sick, and if it's your case, you get sick, it's not just you, your kids, your spouse, your family, your whole ecosystem is affected. So you're actually making an impact not only for yourself, but for those around you that you love and adore. So it's a great choice. And now hopefully with Vanessa's book, that'll inspire you. You'll be able to eat better, eat foods that taste better, that are actually healthier than probably the ones you're eating right now. So it's a win-win, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we do.